Chair, the meeting's live.
Right. Thank you, and welcome everybody to the Standards Committee meeting. I think first, particularly as we've got a new member, we should do our introductions. So I'm Stephen Hayes, independent member and chair.
I'm Claire Moore, independent member and vice chair.
I'm Councillor Ian Harrison, County Councillor for Gilsfield Ward.
Okay, and you're a Tory member, are you?
I will admit to being a Welsh Conservative Party member.
Okay, thank you. Russell?
That's Stephen Tolley, I'm an independent member.
Nigel? Jonathan?
Jonathan Goulden, independent lay member.
What's his name? Liz? Councillor Liz?
Councillor Liz Reinenberg. Good afternoon, everyone.
And finally, I'm sure everybody knows you anyway, Clive.
Thank you very much, Chair. I hope everybody knows me by now. Chair, I've just had a message from Councillor Bev that she's trying to get into the meeting, Carol, but failing. Is there any way that you could possibly try and invite her in?
Yes, I'll have a look at that. Oh, she's
Okay.
Clive, she is now showing that she's here, so I'll just move her into the main part of the meeting.
Ah, perfect.
Chair Debbie's in as well.
Oh, good.
So Councillor Bev.
Sorry, apologies. I don't know which button I've been pressing, but I'm here now, so apologies.
That's lovely, thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Bev. We've just done the introductions, so perhaps you could just introduce yourself as we have a new council member.
Yes, I'm Councillor Beverly Bainer. I'm been on the Standards Committee, I think, for 2 years now, but I could be corrected. But yeah, thank you.
Because we now have Councillor Ian Harrison has joined the committee. Okay, we'll make a start. Are there any apologies? Oh, Councillor William.
Yes, Chair, Councillor William Powell, he's currently at the WLGA conference and hope to join if he could for some or all of the meeting.
Okay, no other apologies, don't think. In which case, we'll move on to the minutes of the previous meeting. Presumably everybody has had a chance to have a look at those.
Chair and members, this was being sent round as a supplementary agenda this morning, and it's the meeting that was held on the 12th of February of this year.
Right. Have you seen these, Councillor Harrison? Ian?
Yes, I have, but I'm not in a position to comment
No,
because I wasn't at the meeting.
In terms of matters arising, it was several resolutions, one of which was the monitoring officer to ask the Ombudsman about checks on those making complaints.
Chair, there's several on this meeting about the Ombudsman. I'm afraid to say I haven't written at all in relation to them, but in relation to the checks and complaints, I probably should have explained on the last meeting that I sort of know what the response will be from the Ombudsman, but the Ombudsman has to take seriously every complaint it gets. And irrespective of the number of complaints which receive from individuals, I suspect that they, like the council, have a vexatious policy, and will be able to declare a complainant as vexatious, but that will be in accordance with their own policy. But I will do that, and I apologise to the Standards Committee for failing to respond to write to the Ombudsman on several matters. I will do that immediately, and I apologise.
That's right. And the same goes for asking about what support is available to councillors and the complainant.
Absolutely, Chair.
And
Chair, I'd ask if there would be a proposal and a second for the meeting for the minutes, please. Oh, Debbie's with us. Hello, Debbie.
hello, Debbie.
Hey. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hi, everyone. Sorry, I'm having to, I'm having terrible trouble trying to get my headphones to work. So sorry, ignore me while I try and get them to work.
They're working.
That's great.
I'm
Thank
not on here. Like
Yeah.
you're coming out in the room, everyone can hear. That's all. in
Oh,
the room. So I just need to, because there's a court sitting downstairs. So
That's
Sorry,
it.
Just
Thank you.
accepting the
Please
minutes,
take your able to
Chair.
join us. Sorry, Councillor Liz, did you want to say something?
I just said I propose accepting the minutes.
Oh, yeah. Any seconders? Yeah, Nigel, seconding. Okay.
Sorry, Mr. Chair.
Yes.
We just note that these minutes did arrive very late. It was only 11:30 this morning.
Yes.
For a meeting that took place in February.
Yeah.
They should have been part of the original pack.
Yeah, it's always better if the minutes can be issued almost immediately.
Yeah.
Whilst everything's fresh in your mind.
Yeah.
Nigel, thank you very much. Taken on board, and absolutely apologies for the late arrival.
Okay. Right, any declarations of interest from anyone? No, anybody online? Any declarations of interest? No. Got the election of a county councillor to the Standards Community Subcommittee.
Chair, as members will know, and for Councillor Ian's information, one member of this committee is elected onto the Standards Subcommittee to deal with town and community councils. That previous member had been Councillor Ian McIntosh, but of course Councillor Ian McIntosh is no longer this committee, so it's incumbent upon this committee to elect a representative to sit and vote and be a formal member of the Standards Subcommittee.
So are there any volunteers amongst Councillor Ian, Councillor Bev and Councillor Liz?
If I may, Mr. Chair, I would prefer not to be nominated for the subcommittee at the moment because I'm absolutely new to your workings and I'd like at least a year to get to know the workings of the main committee.
That's a very reasonable request. Thank you. Councillor Liz or Councillor Bev? Any volunteers?
Councillor Liz, do you want to do it or?
You're on mute, Councillor Liz, sorry.
Yeah, I'm quite happy not to do it, Councillor Bev.
Okay, if there's no takers, then I don't mind, but I didn't, I'm happy, but I'm not worried if someone else wants to do it, but I'm happy to if no one else wants to.
Okay, well that's very kind of you, and thank you for nominating. Thank you
Nominating myself. That's sorry.
So, are we all in agreement that Councillor Bev will represent us on the subcommittee? Represent the council. That's excellent. Okay.
I think, Chair, you just need a seconder for.
I'll second that.
Okay, so Councillor Johnson's first and Councillor Liz second. Right, now to receive the report from the monitoring officer.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, members. I hope you had the opportunity to read the report, which starts on page 5 of the bundle today. I'll skip past section A, go on to B, members' attendance. Members will see from paragraph B of the report that we have 3 councillors who have achieved attendance of less than 60%. Chair, first I should point out that there is a typographical error in the first bullet point. Members will see there's reference to Councillor Josie Evans. And members will be thinking, gosh, who's Councillor Josie Evans? But it's Councillor Josie from Llandod, and apologies for the error, which we didn't notice until this morning. You'll see Councillor Josie's been on maternity leave, and she had informed her group leader that her attendance would drop post maternity. While she found arrangements for the placement of her two children. and you'll see from there's an explanation, Chair. Insofar as Councillor Josie's commitment is concerned of attendance, it's for this committee to decide whether or not they accept the representations made by Councillor Josie.
Any comments?
Yes, Chair, I'm happy to accept the reasons that Councillor Josie.
Sorry, yeah, I've got my hand up. Yeah, I think they're very reasonable explanation given the circumstances.
Agreed.
I see nods, Chair.
Yeah, that's all agreed. Thank you.
Chair, we then have two other councillors who achieved less than 60%, names Councillor Carr and Councillor Sarah. I can inform members that letters were sent. A letter was sent from the chair to Councillor Carl on the 3rd of June of this year. Carol actually spoke to him on the 12th of June, and an email reminder was sent on the 17th. All these three communications asked for his representations as to why he hadn't achieved the 60% attendance. We've had no further correspondence from Councillor Carl. Insofar as Councillor Sarah is concerned, the chair wrote to Councillor Sarah on the 29th of May. Carol rang, left a message on the 9th of June, and also emailed Councillor Sarah on the 9th of June. Again, each of those communications was request for an explanation as to the reasons why 60% attendance had not been achieved. We've not had any further communication from Councillor Sarah. Chair, in those circumstances, it's for standards to decide whether they are happy with the situation as it is. As far as I can see it, Chair, there's probably three possibilities which Standards Committee could come to. That each, firstly, that it's the lack of correspondence is acceptable, and leave it like that. B, a further letter could be sent from the chair, or C, these members or either of them could be asked to attend their standards on the next occasion to personally explain the non-attendance.
So can I just check? You mentioned there was a telephone call with Carl Lewis by Carol. Did you actually speak to Councillor Carl?
Yes.
And what did he say?
He said he would get back to me.
Oh, he said he would get back to you. Okay. Right. So what are people's views? Councillor Liz?
Thank you, Chair. I just wondered, in these circumstances, when someone has been contacted and they haven't responded, whether or not it would be appropriate to contact the group leader of that person to check how they are and whether or not there is anything that needs to be done, in terms of support, because it seems to me quite an unusual thing for someone to not respond at all. You could look at that two ways. It could be, a level of disinterest, or it could be that something quite serious is going on with that person. And I don't know where that level of communication with a group leader would fit in this cycle.
Chair, we've not traditionally contacted group leaders with regard to this, but it's certainly something which we could deal with. But irrespective of that, the Standards Committee needs to make a decision what the next step should be, even if that were to contact the group leader. The group leader is aware, because the group leader has contacted me yesterday, but with no explanation of the attendance, apart from the fact that his group supports Councillor Sarah.
Thank you, Clive. I'll go to Councillor Bev next, and then to Jonathan.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. I actually think that we should ask them to come in front of the Standards Committee and explain. Councillor Josie has provided an explanation which is perfectly adequate. I think we need, as a committee, we need to sort of set the stall out, really, to say it's not acceptable to not turn up, not to give a reason. If there's a perfectly acceptable reason, that's absolutely fine. But they've both had an opportunity on at least 3 or 4 occasions, have been asked to provide a reason. If you've got a valid reason, that's absolutely fine. I've got no problem if you've got a valid reason, but if you have got a valid reason, surely you would just say it at the first opportunity. So I would suggest that, I would propose, but I'm happy if I'm outvoted, but I would propose that we ask them to come and explain themselves.
Okay, thank you very much, Councillor Bev. Jonathan?
But that correspondence be copied to the relevant group leader to cover both excellent points that have been made by Councillor.
Jonathan, you're very faint from where I am, so I'm not sure whether members in the chamber can hear you better than me. Thank you.
Is that better? I'd like to suggest that the correspondence from the committee, if that is agreed, be copied to the group leader to incorporate both points made by Councillor Liz and Councillor Bev.
Thank you. Does Councillor Liz put her hand up again, but does anybody here want to say anything?
Yeah, I'm of the same
Nigel?
view as, sorry, Chair. I'm of the same view as Councillor Bev, that I think it's in our interest as much as the group leader and these two individuals to call them in. I think we've got to set a tone and pass the message on that if they don't offer the courtesy of responding, they will get an invite to the Standards Committee.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Liz, you want to come back?
Yeah, thank you, Chair. Yeah, I absolutely agree that we need to set a standard and people need to be answerable. But I think my point is, and I just want to reiterate it, we are bringing group leaders before the committee to explain to us how they set the standard and lead by example. So I'm just still quite interested to know at what point would the group leader be informed? Is it when they read it in the minutes of this meeting, if the member has not informed the group leader themselves, or is it earlier? And if so, could I have clarification of when the group leader for both those members or all three members was informed or not?
I can probably answer that one.
Chair, as I indicated earlier on, it's not traditionally been the case that we would correspond with group leaders in this manner. It's something which we can do if that's what members want. But as I said to you, Councillor Liz, the group leader is aware of this matter, has not given an explanation or for the failure to correspond, but does know of the incident and has known of the incident, the matter, because it is contained within the minutes, in the agenda pack.
But aren't there different group leaders?
There are different group leaders, absolutely. Councillor Carl's group leader has not been informed at all.
Right. Okay, thank you, Clive. Jonathan?
Sorry, can I?
Carol, yeah.
Yeah, sorry, I'll just come in there. Clive, as a result of you copying Councillor, the one Councillor group leader's correspondence with me yesterday, I did actually advise Councillor Ian in respect of the member of his group, because I thought
thank you, Liz.
it was just helpful as it was raised by another group leader.
Okay, thank you very much for that. Jonathan.
Thank you, Chair. So to simplify matters, I propose that the committee ask Clive to write to each member inviting their attendance before the committee in relation to their attendance, and that Clive's correspondence be copied to the relevant group leader.
Thank you, Jonathan. Can I just check with Clive? Would it be yourself that would write to them, or should it be the chair of the Standards Committee?
Chair, as this is an invite to the next meeting, it should come from me.
Okay.
But I would make it clear that it's an invite requested by the Standards Committee.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Clive. Councillor Bev.
Yeah. I'm very thank you. I'm very happy with what Jonathan has just proposed, but I would just like to point out I have no problem with involving group leaders, and that's what group leaders are for. But at the end of the day, we are all adults and we are all responsible for ourselves, so we should be able to respond to an email when requested. So no problem involving the group leaders, but I think the onus has to be on the on the councillor that they're getting paid to do a role, and to just, even if there's a problem, just to say, well, I've got a problem X, Y, Z. So, but very happy with what Jonathan's just proposed, which is a slight amendment. Thank you.
Okay. So I'll come back to you in a moment, Councillor Liz.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Councillor Ian?
Thank you, Chair. Yes, for me, invitation seems a little bit weak. I certainly like the letter to be a little stronger in that if you can't attend, then you need a very good reason why not, because ultimately we have professional standards to maintain, and county councillors should be held accountable for the standards that they demonstrate to everybody else. So invitation maybe comes across, just needs to be strengthened a bit, I think.
Yes, I mean, this information is in the public domain, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Could I?
Yeah.
I'm just thinking that in a situation like this, is it appropriate that before a formal letter is produced, copied to group leaders, with the original letter going to the person who's not turning up, should not the group leader have been involved before that letter goes out? So at least,
Yeah.
Otherwise he's probably going to, is it possible that he would become aware of this problem just from the letter that's put in front of him?
Yes, a good.
I mean, if it was myself and I was a group leader and one of my members was receiving a formal letter, I would like to have known so that I could take what action I thought was appropriate to try and encourage this individual to do something about it.
Yes, it's a good point. It's not something that we've actually dealt with before. Clive, do you have any views?
Well, as I said, it's not a normal practice to do so. And I think one of the reasons why it's not our normal practice to do so, because all group leaders, together with all councillors and all members of the public, can go onto the public website and see for themselves the number of meetings which any individual has met. And it's open for group leaders to do that themselves, and it's open for individual councillors to do that for themselves. So I think that's the reason why we haven't done it in the past. I think we can amend our practice and do and if we in future we send we do write to individuals, I think we should probably amend our process to include and copy the group leader into that. I think that it's a good thing to do going forward, but we haven't done it in this case. But members still need to decide what's going to be expected.
Okay, so I think we'll take. Oh, yes, it's gone. Liz, did you have your?
No, I didn't let my hand down. It looks like it's still up to me, but I could be wrong. Yeah, if I could just come back, I just wanted to say, I think the last point's really cracked it for me, because I think it's just making sure the group leader knows before the horse is bolted. And I take on board the point from Clive that anyone can look. You know, I check my attendance all the time. You know, I really believe that people should be accountable. But I also think we are introducing this system where group leaders come in and report to us. So I think it's equally, you know, incumbent on us to report to the group leader. I don't think it takes away the responsibility of the member at all. I just think it makes it more realistic and rounds things up. So I'm quite satisfied with that proposal that we do that in the future.
Yeah, after it's a courtesy copy to the leader, so that they're aware of it.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. Thank you.
Is everybody content then that Clive writes to them to invite them to the next meeting to explain their attendance record?
Yes. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Chair, I'm not sure that that's what was proposed. I think what was proposed is that I write to them, asking them, requesting their attendance at the next meeting, or and if they can't attend, a reason why they can't attend. I think that's what the proposal was from Councillor from Jonathan.
And Councillor Ian as well.
Yeah. Okay. Everybody accept it, Clive?
I think that's the proposal. Then the other proposal was to make sure that the group leader knows in advance, not after the horse is bolted. Is that acceptable
future,
in the future?
Yes,
Yeah.
that's exactly right.
Yeah.
What I was suggesting. I know in this case we've moved quite a long way. We're a lot
Yeah.
further down the track, but I would suggest that in future, when a situation like this arises, the group leader needs to be made aware before it becomes a formal letter.
Yeah.
Okay,
Thank you.
we can move on. So back to you then, Clive.
Thank you, Chair. If we can move on to section C of my report, you'll see there the matters which are currently before the Public Service Ombudsman for Wales. Chair, you'll see that there are four there which are the Ombudsman is investigating, and there are two there without an update. So I'm not sure what those are. So Debbie, could you possibly give an indication of what those, if they're investigating or not, or whether they're so brand new you don't know either way, which I suspect is the case.
Thank you, Clive. I don't actually have the item in front of me, sorry, so I can't see which ones they are, but I know Carol has all the updates that I provided recently. Sorry to pass the buck, Carol, but I suspect they may be new ones because we went through the list only recently and updated those that are under investigation.
They're ones which we were involved about the initial assessment in April.
Oh, they won't have come back to us then, Clive. They're still considering whether or not they're going to investigate or not. That's the
Thank you. I thought that would be the case,
yes,
but
thank you.
Chair, no dispensation has been requested. Members will see again that the Ombudsman has updated their findings on their intranet log. Members are capable to go onto the link onto the website to see the decisions which have been taken recently by the Ombudsman and the referrals which they have made. Chair, similarly, there's a link to the decisions recently made by the Adjudication Panel for Wales. And members again can use the link to get on to see what, if any, decisions have been made by them. Moving on to the whistleblowing section, which is section F of the report, members will see two things. I put on the report the details of the numbers of whistleblowing cases which we've had in previous years. Together with the information which is for this year, I thought it was important that the members could see that what the trend was. That's why I gave the past information as well as the present information. You'll see that there have been 4 whistleblowing reports last year, one of which was in respect of a supplier. One might say, well, that's not in relation to Powys County Council, but it is one which we have received and is recorded within this information. Chair, you'll see also that these whistleblowing complaints average about 2, 3, 4 a year. So, and we're still within that sort of bracket.
Okay, thank you.
Chair, I can't see any questions, and so the last item on my report is the date of the next meeting, which is 2 p.m. on the 13th of October.
Does anybody have any questions on the monitoring officer's report?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry, I just note in the table of investigations by the Office the Ombudsman for Wales, there are 2 items in there which seem to be well past the 12-month due date. 02/CC/23 and 03/CC23. And I'm just wondering if there's any known reason why the Ombudsman has failed to complete their investigation within the 12-month period.
Perhaps Debbie's best to answer that question.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Councillor Ian. This has always been a really difficult one for us as a local authority because I seek regular updates from the Ombudsman, and I generally received the response that they're still under investigation. So there can be lots of reasons that there's a delay. It can be because they can't get hold of witnesses. It can be that they can't get hold, or they can't arrange a convenient time to meet, or there's delays, or there's illnesses or absences. I mean, it really isn't something that's within our control at all, Councillor Ian. It's absolutely out of our control. So despite requesting updates as frequently as I can, once a matter's been referred to them with a complaint, it really is entirely a matter for them when they refer it to us. So I'm sorry I can't be more helpful, but there is really no more we can do other than, and we have raised this before, Chair. I think you'll recall we have,
Yes, we have, yeah.
contacted the Ombudsman suggesting that we have concerns about, you know, these delays. So sorry, there is no specific answer other than I do chase updates, but I'm told they're still under investigation. So thank you, Chair.
But perhaps to clarify, the Ombudsman at one time were a bit short of personnel, so things got delayed, and she then got authority to recruit, but that was about last year, so it's probably taking some time to catch up with things. In addition, they've had, I think it was something like a 30% increase in the number of cases. So I think all that lot together has exacerbated the situation for them.
So I just wonder if the nature of the delay could be understood, whether it's too much demand for the capacity available by the Ombudsman, or whether there are internal difficulties with regard to that investigation. And at least then we'll have a better feel for whether we're looking at capacity related delays or internal investigation issues that are causing issues.
I could raise the matter. We've got the National Standards Forum on Monday. We've got a meeting. The Ombudsman will be there, or a representative. So we could ask the question there. She usually gives us an update as to progress. Okay, thank you.
Could I just interject there, please? Because William's message to say he's trying to get in, Councillor William Carroll.
Thank you very much. I'll have a look. Thank you.
Oh, sorry, Jonathan.
Chair, as you know, I've raised this general issue of delay previously. I'll ask if Clive or Debbie or Carol could pass copies of your exchange of correspondence with the Ombudsman to Councillor Ian, just to demonstrate that we have been alive to this issue previously, and I very much welcome your volunteering to raise the issue at your meeting on Monday.
Thank you, Jonathan.
Chair, Jonathan, thank you very much. We'll certainly do that. It is a matter of which this Standards Committee and other Standards Committees throughout Wales have concerns about. And of course, what we also do, Jonathan, is send Councillor Ian a copy of the last annual report we had from the Ombudsman, which will sort of put some context about the problems which we've been having. So we'll do that as well.
Okay, thank you. Right, in that case, we'll move on to the next item, which is the annual meeting with group leaders. You will have seen the report, and various members have commented on that, and some modifications have been made. Does anybody have any views, and do you accept the report?
Chair.
Nigel?
Oh, Jonathan can go first.
Oh, sorry. Jonathan?
Thank you. I do accept the report wholly. I wonder if there is a means for officers to assist those group leaders who are perhaps finding the form harder to complete than others in advance of our meeting with them. And I offer that in, I don't wish to burden officers with an additional task, but you know, we have observed that the degree of the extent of provision of information varied between individuals, and that could be for a number of reasons. So I offer that as a suggestion, and I'm quite prepared for to be advised that that's either not realistic or not appropriate.
Clive, you want to come back on that?
Chair, I think what we can do is offer the support, Jonathan. Whether that offer is then accepted is beyond our control, really. But I really think it's a really good suggestion that we offer some support in doing that, and hopefully that will produce a better result next time.
Thank you, Jonathan. Thank you, Clive. Right, any other, Nigel?
Please. Yeah, my comments really follow on from Jonathan's. Yeah, there was a selection of messaging on that afternoon. I think I used the expression in my email that there were some group leaders that were less engaged with the process than others, and I agree with Jonathan that there was maybe at least one that perhaps needed support to help develop their own relationship with this new process. But I think we're going to keep coming back to this level of behaviour and this type of behaviour, because it all becomes linked. We talked about non-attendance earlier on, and the involvement of group leaders, and no response. We can't refer to it at the moment, but item 14 will come back to the involvement of group leaders, lack of engagement, lack of taking behaviour seriously, and it's not going away. And somehow or another, as a standards committee, we've got to change the messaging, either in this group leaders report or on in the next item of our annual report, whether we engage with the officers to ask them to increase the level of support, increase the seriousness of the messaging. But we do have at least one group leader that is not as engaged as others, and the problem keeps rising its head each time, and we've got several examples of this afternoon.
It could be that they don't necessarily appreciate the value of this.
Quite possibly, yeah.
And we probably need to show them that it is worthwhile doing.
Yeah.
And as Russell said, sending a letter to group leaders about people that haven't attended,
yeah,
it sort of demonstrates the importance that we attach to compliance with the code.
Yeah,
but anyway, in terms of the document itself, are you content?
Yep.
Sorry, Russell.
No, sorry, are you talking about the document, or are we talking within the document?
We should be just talking about the document.
Okay.
Okay, anybody else like this one? Clive.
Chair, taking into account the comments from Jonathan and from Nigel, the members will of course be aware that bullet point 2 within this section does deal with that there is scope for greater ownership and engagement of some groups in both reporting and responding to the committee. So that is clearly a message which comes from this committee in that bullet point.
Right, thank you, Clive, and welcome, Councillor William.
Thank you. Apologies, Chair. Despite best efforts, I'm very grateful to Carrie Ann for her assistance at the last moment. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor William. We understand the reasons you weren't able to attend earlier, so thank you very much. Okay, so did you want to say anything?
No, I'm happy to accept this. I was just thinking that when we meet, you present the report, don't you? The annual report.
Claire, have you got your Congress system on, because I can't hear?
Oh, sorry, can you hear me now?
Yes, Karen.
Okay, great. I was just thinking really that when we present the annual report to full council in July, which will include the reference to this, won't it? Is there an opportunity for Stefan to highlight some of the issues raised? in that
Absolutely.
part?
Okay.
Yeah, so
I
we,
will-
you know, we could
yeah.
discuss the role of the committee there
Yeah.
and what and expectations going forward.
I would be happy for that to take place, but of course with no specifics, because that would be not a
Of course
problem.
No, yeah,
no.
yeah.
Okay, so can we have a sort of,
Chair, could I just raise?
yeah,
I did raise a point as to where the role of the group leaders is written down. Who decides that?
that's a good question. Clive, can you do that one?
Well, again, Chair, this is in bullet point 1 of the report, which says there needs to be more clarity in the role of group leaders. We will do that going forward, but it is an important point, and it is in your report. Chair, I don't know whether if there's a conversation taking place in the chamber or not, because there are no mics on.
No, that's fine. Right, so could I have a proposal on a seconder? Oh, sorry, Councillor William?
Chair, apologies if this is sort of inappropriate in the flow of this discussion, but I wasn't actually proposing by raising my hand. I do have a question. It may not be appropriate or admissible at this moment, but it relates to the engagement and the need for two-way engagement between group leaders and our committee, and it was a question really. It relates in part to a later report regarding issues around member attendance, and I just wanted to check whether there's any support for the view that maybe there's room for a little more two-way traffic in relation to.
Councillor William, we've already discussed that issue, and in future we will make sure that any correspondence sent to members with regard to attendance is also copied into group leaders. So we've already dealt with it.
Well, that's wonderful. In that case, there's no further room for my remarks, but thank you for that reassurance.
Okay, thank you, Councillor William. So can we have a proposal and a seconder for the report about the group leaders?
Yeah, I'm happy to propose that.
Second.
Okay. Right, so the next one is the annual report. You've all read the lengthy report. That was kindly prepared by Democratic Services. Does anybody wish to raise any questions or clarify any matters?
Yeah, the report is in similar format to the one we presented last year. The information, of course, has been updated, and really take any questions or suggested amendments which the committee wishes to make.
Sorry. Yeah, Carol circulated the report in advance, so I've sent some comments, so I'm happy to agree today. But I just wanted to formally thank Carol for putting together the report.
Here.
I think it sets out you know, the huge amount of work that the committee have dealt with this year, and it's quite tricky to tell that story. So thank you very much, Carol.
Thank you. Can I just ask for clarification, because it's called the 24-25 report, but some of it slips into the following year, into April, doesn't it? And some of it goes the previous year. I don't think it really matters, but should it be strictly 1st of April to 31st of March? Or are we all content that it does straddle things because it makes it easier to understand and read?
Chair, it incorporates the meeting with the group leaders.
Yes,
because
yeah,
that tends to be always after the 31st of March, and we hold it as close to the 31st of March as possible. But it's a report of the work of the committee during 2024-25, and some of that work relates to 2023. So it
Yes.
it's what the work of the committee during that period of time.
Okay. As long as everybody's content with that, that's.
Chair, well, I can't see anybody any hands up.
No.
Just to indicate, Chair, that you will need to incorporate your statement onto page
Yes.
3 of the document, and you kindly agreed that you would do so following this meeting to take into account any views that were taken place made by members of this committee. Chair and members should be aware that this annual report will be presented to full council on the 10th of July, and you've kindly agreed to go along to the council to present the report on behalf of the Standards Committee.
Okay, if there's no other comments, then proposer and a seconder. Proposer Russell. Councillor Williams, sorry. You're seconding? Thank you.
Absolutely. Yep. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, thank you. So we move on to the annual review of Register of Interests.
Chair, you'll see from the report, which starts on page 35, that in January of this year, an email was sent to all members asking them to update their register of interests by the 14th of February. All except one member have now completed their annual review, and that one member has been caring for an ill relative, and so that explanation is in paragraph 3.2 of the report. Chair, members will also see from the report that co-opted members are also required to undertake update their interests, and you'll see that there were a number of those co-opted members that didn't do so. But Carol has, as always she does, is cajoles and encourages members to complete. So we have only at this moment in time, 2 members still need to complete their reviews, and Carol has sent a further reminder, and I think that one of them has indicated that they will do so, Carol.
Yes, that's correct, Clive.
Okay.
Chair, the recommendation in the report, for which I will require a proposer and a seconder, is to note the contents of the report and to require me as the monitoring officer to continue to remind members and lay members of the date for the returns. Chair, what I can say is, of course, it is for individuals to decide whether or not they have interests. And it could, of course, be the case that some members would say, well, I have no interest to declare, therefore I'm not doing anything. That's a matter for them. We can't force that issue, but we will continue to remind members and co-opted members that we would like them to do so.
Thank you very much, Clive. I'll go to Councillor William. Got his hand up.
Thank you, Chair. I would like to propose, as indicated by Clive, but in doing so, I'd also like to add my thanks to Carol for her stolid and patient work in following up this request on behalf of Clive and supporting members in doing the right thing, because I think it's it's a task that's not seen, and actually it's very much appreciated by members.
Thank you very much, Clive. A seconder?
Yes.
Right, Claire's seconder. Okay, thank you. Move on to the next one, which is number 9, the annual review of the use of general dispensations.
Chair, Chair, we had a little discussion because the report was very short from me on this. Technically, there have been no uses of general dispensations, and that surprised me a little. But I have to say that Carol and the team have reviewed all the evidence during the course of the morning and have confirmed that technically there have been no use of general dispensations, and so that's my report.
That's short and sweet. That's fine. Okay, we'll move on to the next one, which is the observing county council meetings by Standards Committee members.
Chair, would you like me to speak to this item briefly?
Yep, please.
Well, thank you for the opportunity of observing county council meeting. I regret that I was unable to do that in person on the day, but that did at least enable me to view matters as a remote observer would. And you'll see that overall, I felt that the meeting was conducted with efficiency and good humour by the chair, and that there was an appropriate level of raising of questions on governance matters such as interests, all of which were dealt with efficiently and effectively in the course of the meeting. The sound quality is one of those technical issues which I'm sure will come and go periodically, and I'm sure will be addressed. I just wanted to comment on really my misunderstanding, and the fact that I misunderstood it was perhaps the point, that one member displaying what I thought was a local newspaper headline saying "what a load of rubbish," which at the time I thought was meant with a reference to a Powys issue. It's actually with a Shropshire issue, but nonetheless, you will be no doubt have seen political reporting of political gatherings these days. On occasions, banners and slogans are sometimes displayed alongside or behind the speaker. And I just wished to flag this up. If this is not something which is of current concern, then that's absolutely fine. But were it to become an issue, I would hope that we are able to be in a position to express the view. There is a balance between the right of members to express themselves freely on political matters, and for a council meeting to be conducted with due efficiency and decorum. So I just make that observation. I don't think that this is a current issue, but I would just wish to draw that to members' attention in case it ever becomes an issue. Apart from that, my plea was for that members have their names on signage in front of them, so that the remote viewer is able to know who they are, particularly if they're unfamiliar with members.
Thank you very much, Jonathan. Councillor Bev was next, and then Clive.
Yeah, it was just following on really from what Jonathan said. I appreciate there's a bit of a fine line, as Jonathan said, but I'm not sure if we need to consider perhaps going forward what we may do in that particular circumstance, because I saw it, or I was in the meeting at that time, but I could see it on my screen. It didn't look very professional. It didn't look, that's my opinion. I mean, I didn't think it looked very professional, whatever the stance or wherever it had come from, whether it be Shropshire or Powys or what have you. It was in the screen, and whenever anyone was talking in the vicinity of, you could see this, what a load of rubbish. I mean, I don't know. I suppose we could take the stance that members of the public are viewing it, and if they don't see it, think it's professional, well, that's fine, and that's, they will make their choice. But I'm not sure I think it's appropriate. So I just wonder if it perhaps would be appropriate to just mention it to the current chair if it happens again in the future, or I don't know. I'm trying to think of a simple, I don't know quite how, so we could, I don't know, perhaps Clive has probably got a suggestion, but I just didn't think it was very appropriate myself, so.
Thank you, Councillor Bev. Clive?
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Jonathan, and thank you, Councillor Bev. Insofar as that sort of incident at the last meeting was concerned, I think this is something that we could ask the Democratic Services Committee to consider. And look, it's a thing for members to self-regulate themselves. If members think that this is inappropriate, we can write this into the constitution, and we will prevent it happening in the future. So that deals with Jonathan's point, cutting it, well, at least considering it in advance rather than waiting for it to happen. That's what I would suggest we do with that, and it could be a recommendation from this committee that I take this matter to the DSC, which is happy to do. Insofar as Jonathan's suggestion of signage in front of individuals is concerned, I was under the impression that viewers at home, when looking from at home, they would have the names of councillors on their screens as it came up. Is that not the case? It doesn't sound to be the case, Jonathan.
No, maybe I was missing it, but it wasn't apparent to me.
Well, I observed a hearing remotely, a session remotely, and I thought you were right, Clyde. I think the names were up there.
Jonathan, we will check, but and if that's not the case, then we probably do need to do something about it. Although then, of course, the identity of the councillor being asked to speak is made clear by the chair when they're invited to speak, so that's sort of okay. But of course, if you join the meeting after the invitation is made to speak, you're not going to know who's speaking. So I think it's something we need to look at. But thank you for raising it.
Thank you.
Just before coming on to Councillor William, I'll just check if anybody here wants. Councillor Ian.
Yes, thank you, Chair. Just coming back to the use of background images to make a political point. Okay, the case in question was a relatively trivial political incident, but given what's happening in the world today, I could envisage a slippery slope, frankly. We could see all sorts of images popping up in the background that could cause great offence to, quite sizable sections of our population. And frankly, I think the simplest, most straightforward behaviour to adopt is it's not allowed at all under any circumstances. And I think we need to be very clear on that.
Yeah, thank you. Councillor William.
Thank you, Chair. As current Chair, I'm a little cautious in commenting on this, but I welcome the comments from Councillor Bev and Councillor Ian in relation to the dangers that I see this developing, particularly in a sort of social media dominated time when tabloid headlines and imagery, subliminal or otherwise, can have a disproportionate effect and can be used in a way to destabilize other people, whether in the chamber or third parties. So I welcome those comments, but I also welcome Clive's proposal to take this through democratic services, because I think for a chair to be sort of freelancing on the issue is probably dangerous in its own way, and it would be better if that's backed up by the due process. So I welcome the concern. I share it, but I think that if we can expedite this with democratic services, it will probably be a more solid basis on which to proceed, and I think it's a better way forward, because I assume this wouldn't prevent people from having a background which perhaps purely indicates their own political coloration or some sort of landscape scene in the background, but anything of the kind that's been described is dangerous. As to the labelling issue, I think there are circumstances where some members sort of join meetings in an account from maybe a local community centre or hub, and sometimes I believe or even a school. I've seen people joining from a school, and therefore their personal indication and those who choose to use them, their pronouns or whatever, are not highlighted. And therefore, I think perhaps there is a little bit of work there which we need to engage with IT or member support to sort of standardise that issue. But for the most part, members' ID is there. But I think there are some anomalies which accounts for the earlier comments. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Councillor William. Any other observations? No? Okay. In that case, we'll move on to the work programme.
Chair, the work programme is there for members to review. As I said, previously, this is a fluid work programme. If members have any suggestions about things that they want to include in the work programme, they can do so at any stage. So please come forward if you think of anything, but please note what the contents are at the moment, and if we can add anything, we will.
Okay, everybody content?
Yeah.
Okay, right, we'll move on then to item number 12, the exempt items. Clive?
Chair, we're about to discuss a private and confidential matter. Members of the committee will know what it's about. I'm not going to explain it now because we're in public session, but I strongly recommend the committee to move into confidential session, and I would ask for a proposer and a seconder to move into to confidential session, plus to get together with a vote on that issue, please.
I'm happy to propose that motion.
Right. Yeah, Nigel's already proposed it, so I'll put you down as a seconder, Jonathan.
Okay.
And a vote, please, Chair.
Right. Online, perhaps you can just say yay or nay. Councillor Liz?
Yes.
Jonathan?
Yes.
Councillor Bev?
Yes.
Councillor William?
Yes.
That's it, unanimous.
Thank you, Chair. Can you please bear with us a moment when Carol moves out of the public session, please? Carol, can you tell us when you're ready, please?